we have heard from the very high political debate at the beginning that affordable, sustainable housing is key, is one of the challenges that currently Europe is facing, and that innovation can play a crucial role. And then we have been here already for quite a few hours, we have heard similar messages from all the different levels, from the startups, from corporates that have already gone through the whole innovation process, from municipal housing companies, from local governments, regional governments, from financiers, that this is important. And one of the things that are, one of the topics that have been recurrently said is the key role of public sector to increase demand, to create this pipeline, to the risk investment, but also to create this ecosystem that will allow innovation to grow. And I have the pleasure to count here with an excellent panel with some of the leaders in Europe that have been already incorporated this innovation in their daily life, that they have gone through challenges over the past years, and that they can provide to us some insights on the practicalities of how this can happen and how we can each other support for innovation to grow and to scale up. Starting from the left, we have Gerard Guerra, that is the lead architect at the Municipal Institute of Housing and Renovation of Barcelona. IMHAB manages Barcelona's affordable housing stock, leads renovation project, and is a long-standing partner of the EIB. Seán Armstrong, senior advisor at the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage in Ireland. Seán leads national initiatives to use construction innovation to reduce costs and increase affordable housing supply. Then we have Ivo Iannice, Deputy Secretary General on Living Environment and Circular Economy in the Ministry of Climate in Estonia, and he has a lot of wealth of experience in innovating the construction industry to bring benefits in resource and energy efficiency, housing affordability, and the overall quality of the living environment. And finally, we have Francisco Diéguez, who is the Director General of the Catalonia Institute of Construction Technology. ITeC is a non-profit foundation dedicated to improving efficiency in construction through research and knowledge transfer. So now I will take my seat, and I would like to turn to you first, Seán. Please, can you tell us some of the ways Ireland is promoting the use of innovative construction, and from your perspective, what you have heard in the previous panel, what resonates more in your past experience?
Thank you, Elena, and thank you to the EIB for inviting us to speak here today. We're delighted to be participating in a panel that's focusing on innovation in housing construction, and it's a really useful event to share our experiences and our learnings. What's been discussed today, we're very familiar with in Ireland. In Ireland, we have a housing target to construct 300,000 houses by 2030, which is about 50,000 houses per year. At the moment, we're constructing about 34,000 houses per year, and we're finding it really difficult to get to that figure of 50,000 houses per year. It's very difficult for the industry to respond. So in order to meet our targets, we really need to almost double the number of houses that we're delivering each year. So without a new way of supplying houses, without modern methods of construction and innovation, we won't be able to achieve our targets. So in 2021, we implemented a national housing plan called Housing for All, and the development of innovation and modern methods of construction was identified as a key pillar in order to help us meet our targets and help the delivery of houses. Along with our targets, we're also affected by significant construction costs. We need to reduce our construction costs, like every other country. And also we are experiencing significant shortages of labour And the construction sector has been less attractive to people over recent years, largely due to the crash in 2008. A lot of people left the construction industry in 2008. And of course, we have the age profile. People are getting closer to retirement. So there is an urgency around developing new methods of supply. Some of the key initiatives we introduced in our housing plan in 2021 was we established an accelerated delivery programme to supply 1,800 social housing units using modern methods of construction and a design-build approach. We also developed a roadmap for construction skills and modern methods of construction. We established a research and innovation centre to support innovation in construction. We already had in place a standard for timber frame construction, but we also have a process called agreement certification, which certifies innovative systems and ensures that we have quality units supplied to the housing. So as a result of those measures and innovations, we have been tracking the numbers of modern methods of construction houses that have been built through our building permitting system. It's called commencement notices. And whilst we didn't have that in place in 2021 when we started this process, in 2019 the industry would have reported that about 25% of our houses were two-dimensional timber frame. And now, based on recent analysis and recent reports from the industry, it's been reported that we are over 60% of our housing is being built from two-dimensional panelized timber frame. It was mentioned a few times today about a definition of what modern methods of construction and industrialization is, and that's really important about enabling what we are going to support and what we're going to drive forward. So we have had a definition of modern methods of construction since 2021, and that includes 2D panelized systems, 3D volumetric systems, which we also call modular, which is a little bit different to what was described today, and also innovative methods on site. So like insulated concrete formwork or maybe cross-laminated timber. And we are seeing, whilst we're seeing very good market adoption of two-dimensional panelized timber frame, we're seeing some adoption of innovative methods on site, like insulated concrete formwork. But the three-dimensional volumetric system, it's not coming through as the system as much and seems to need more development. It seems to be more of an emerging technology when compared to the more established forms of off-site construction. So I would agree with Heike's presentation that scenario one with the volumetric, everything done off-site, is maybe a future end game. But that maybe scenario two, where we're building on the innovative solutions we have in place at the moment, is maybe a stepping block to where we need to go over the next 5 years, because this is very urgent. We need solutions quickly. So we need to build on the innovative technologies that are there already and scale those up. So it's been a really useful conference, and we're really pleased to hear the feedback today.
Perspective, no? Because I mean, somehow you wrap up all what has been said and put a bit of sense in the practicalities, no, of the different technologies in the different ways, also the standardization, procurement, and so on.
And the public procurement element is really important in terms of giving confidence to the market that government supports these technologies. And whilst cost is the tyranny of public procurement, which I had a lot of empathy with when I heard it today, what we have done in Ireland is you can also award, as well as awarding marks for cost, you can also award marks for quality of construction and for delivery, and we've given additional weighting to delivery in order to support systems that deliver to them on site more quickly. So I think it's important to reward the benefits of industrialization or innovation in a transparent and fair way. And so delivery is what we're using at the moment, but we're also planning to introduce an embodied carbon metric in public procurement for all houses that have commenced design, well, for all contract values over 60 million that have commenced design since the 1st of September of this year, and it will be contract values over 20 million from June of next year, which we will see as being very significant, introducing an embodied carbon metric into our procurement processes.
Yes, and it resonates a lot with what we were discussing also yesterday with Gerard on site in the visit, no? On how this procurement, this target procurement, this strategic procurement, if you want to call it like that just to decrease the importance of the cost and to introduce these other elements without being prescriptive in the technology and letting the market come with solutions, no? And how to turn them in the right way to ensure quality, delivery, and of course at a fair cost.
Yeah, we have to be technology neutral, transparent, and fair in our procurement processes.
Great. Next question, Ivo. Estonia is always seen as a leader in pioneering digitalization and innovation. Is this also true in the housing sector? Also feel free to pitch in whatever has been said during the day. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. When Seán explained the good work Ireland has done at the demand side, and I can perhaps explain more about the supply side and also about the regulation in general of the construction processes in Estonia. Well, first of all, many think about Estonians and then say that whenever something moves, then the Estonian wants to digitize it. But I want to maybe change this narrative a bit, as everything doesn't have to be digitalized. We have to first think why and what is the reason for that. When we look at the conditions, well, I think innovation is inevitable for us. We have the country the size of Switzerland, but we have 7 times less the population. So we have to be 7 times more efficient than even the Swiss. And that's no easy task. But I think this has created the conditions that the public sector itself doesn't even have to nudge so much. It's kind of obvious for the industry that in order to be competitive internationally, then we need to invest into high value products and services. Well, I at least in Estonia, we cannot talk about low-skilled labor. It's just we have to minimize the need of low-skilled labor as much as possible. It's just not competitive for us, and I think we have to think about that in a wider sense for the Europe as well, looking at what is happening in China, for instance, where industrialization is I would say that they're a bit ahead. But why the digitalization is necessary in housing and what steps have we taken? Well, first of all, the construction permits are completely digital in Estonia. We're taking
repeated throughout the panels, no? The need for speeding up permits, no? That this is one of the challenges and one of the key roles of the public sector for us to solve. So please go ahead.
And at the coffee break, we had good discussion with Seán about permits, or what do we mean about permits? Because to get a housing a delivery grant, that means that you need to have the zoning and you need to have the building permit, and in some countries other approvals as well. In our case, I would say that the building permit stage, which is the last stage, this is quite efficient already. We're talking about days, maybe weeks of permitting procedure, but the zoning part is taking time. And this is where now we're talking about digitalization, that the transparency of the process, the standardization of the process, that the drawings and everything are understandable to common person. I think this is the big step that we are taking now to make sure this democratic discussion on the changes in the living environment are made as transparent and as fast as possible.
Mhm. And also the reliability, no? That it was one of the aspects that was mentioned this morning, no? That it's at some point is not how long it takes, is knowing that the deadline will be that one, no? And it does not extend without reason and without knowing what will be the outcome. No?
Very good. Reliability, and I would bring another word, trust. And then we had some discussions about the litigations in court. I think when you have a streamlined process of high transparency, a good collaboration in the community, then it also reduces the amount of litigations. But now to affordability. Time is money, everybody knows that, and data is time. So this is why digitization now becomes important. And this is in numbers. We just carried out the comprehensive study in Estonia. Every year of delayed preparation of housing developments increased the cost to the end user 5 to 10%. Every year, 5 to 10% of end cost. So this procedures and then simplifying, increasing the speed of procedures is very important in terms of affordability as well. And eventually, now I would like to take this industrialized, automated thinking to physical processes. I think we wouldn't be here where we are with prefab construction. I think Gropius did a great visualization and explanation of their business. Well, I would say that we have taken these kind of solutions to a whole country level, and even unknowingly for ourselves, we have been very actively participating in the housing developments in the Nordics. Most of our deliveries of prefab wooden modular buildings have been sent to Nordic countries, and we learn from exporting. We learn from each target market. We're not even so concerned about different regulations because we learn from each transition to a new economy and new regulations, and then it kind of makes you more adaptable. So, and now we're bringing this knowledge. We are the largest exporter of timber buildings of Europe, perhaps even the whole world. We're taking this know-how and this capacities, these industrial capacities to renovation. So we don't have to move people out of renovated buildings. We can renovate the buildings in weeks. Of course, most of the process takes time in the factory, but when you have the panels ready, 95%, cladding, the windows, the insulation, even the ventilation piping inside the insulation panels, you bring them to the site, you mount them together in a few weeks. Well, people can go to vacation, they come back, their building is ready. So I mean, this is what we're doing now, and this is not a prototype. This is a working solution. We have 50 buildings ready or being made now. We're also in the German markets, and I think this efficiency as a mindset is so important. And then we can talk about tools such as digitization, such as industrialization, and so on.
Well, but this is key also to solve the challenge of the renovation. No, in Europe, 70% of the housing stock still needs to be renovated. Currently, the rhythm is less than 1% per year, and timing is of an essence. No, there.
Exactly, and scaling up renovation cannot happen with one-off solutions. We need industrialization thinking there, and digitization is the enabler. Because well, this solution works only thanks to laser scanning, thanks to point cloud technology, thanks to BIM modeling, highly automated processes in the factory. Now we're there.
Breaking this perception, no, that renovation of the old housing stock is a painful process that takes very long, that disrupts the daily living of families, and this is one of the factors that hampers, no, this to scale up.
This is not the case at all, and we also have to bring in architects, obviously. So it's very important, and we're doing a lot of work there to make it socially acceptable. So we don't want to renovate with the technology from last century. It's of course mass customization principle from this century, and then I think in many industries we can see that and we can emulate that.
Good. I now look at Francisco. Well, we have seen that research plays a key role in bringing innovation forward. What is the role that institutes like ITeC can play to boost innovation and to bridge this gap between research and this more practical application? I think that the ITeC case is a very nice one. I know ITeC since the very start of my career, and I know the huge amount of work that you have done at regional, national level, but even European, international level. So I will be delighted that you can explain this in a moment.
Thank you. Bueno, muchas gracias por la invitación. Nosotros realmente no somos un centro de investigación, somos un centro de transferencia tecnológica y, por tanto, nosotros no tenemos laboratorios. Lo que sí que es uno de nuestros objetivos fundamentales es estar al día de todo el conocimiento y todas las investigaciones y las innovaciones que podamos encontrar a nivel europeo, a nivel mundial, y hacer esa transferencia al tejido productivo del sector de la construcción aquí, básicamente en España, ¿no? En este sentido, tenemos varias líneas de trabajo para hacer esta transferencia tecnológica. Primero, acompañamos a las empresas en desarrollos de innovación, de productos y sistemas innovadores, como sería en este caso, por ejemplo, la construcción industrializada, a la que le estamos dando un impulso importante aquí en España. Este acompañamiento básicamente está enfocado a hacer que las ideas y los productos que se están desarrollando se hagan de manera que cuando lleguen al mercado tengan o que cubran esas necesidades técnicas, logísticas y de todo tipo que el mercado está esperando, ¿no? Eso es una de nuestras tareas, yo creo, muy importantes que aportamos al sector, ¿no? También ayudamos a las pymes. Normalmente nosotros muchas veces trabajamos para grandes multinacionales, pero también estamos muy enfocados en ayudar a las pymes en introducirse en este mundo de la innovación. A las pymes no tienen esa capacidad normalmente de tener este fuelle para innovar, y les asesoramos desde el punto de vista técnico por una parte. Por otra parte, ayudamos también a búsqueda de financiación pública, en proyectos europeos o proyectos de ámbito más nacional, ¿no? De hecho, pues estamos en la mayoría de los proyectos europeos y celebramos además que Europa, creo que es una de las grandes aportaciones a la innovación, los grandes programas de innovación que promueve la Comisión Europea. Pues intentamos que en estos proyectos vamos siempre de la mano de uno de las empresas del sector que tienen esta necesidad de innovar o que sienten esta necesidad de innovar para que puedan facilitar esa tarea innovadora, ¿no? Últimamente, ya para meternos más en temas de innovación más disruptiva, aunque será objeto después del siguiente panel y un compañero del ITeC que lo explicará mejor después, empezamos a trabajar con el Barcelona.cat, que es una iniciativa que nació en el ITeC y que lo que pretende es buscar startups que puedan resolver los retos que las grandes consultoras o que las empresas consolidadas del sector tengan, ¿no? Entonces, cómo ayudar a esas startups a desarrollarse, cómo ligar que esas startups puedan tener digamos, un sitio donde poder probar sus pruebas de concepto, etcétera, ¿no? Y eso también lo estamos haciendo a través del Barcelona.cat. Históricamente, y fue nuestro origen más tecnológico, ya para las obras de los Juegos Olímpicos de Barcelona 92, empezamos elaborando bases de datos y software, por tanto, digitalización del sector de la construcción. Esa fue nuestra primera aportación a la innovación en el sector de la construcción, ¿no? Y por último, diría la colaboración con las administraciones públicas, básicamente, como con IMHAB y etcétera, a la hora de involucrarnos con ellos para que implementen innovación en sus licitaciones. Les ayudamos a redactar los pliegos. En su día, en temas de sostenibilidad, fuimos pioneros y ayudamos mucho a que se empezaran a introducir criterios de sostenibilidad en las licitaciones públicas. Actualmente estamos trabajando también para introducir los criterios de cómo valorar la industrialización para fomentar esta faceta del sector. Y por tanto ahí también es un tema muy importante. Además, en este aspecto me gustaría decir que nosotros consideramos básico el papel de la administración pública en la innovación. Se ha dicho que la construcción, desgraciadamente, por los márgenes muy ajustados que se trabaja muy a coste, cuesta mucho innovar porque supone un riesgo importante, y creemos que la administración está en una posición de liderar y de dar ejemplo a la hora de asumir esos riesgos, a la hora de dar esos pasos que permitan que esa innovación llegue en primer lugar a la construcción. Cuando eso se haya visto que el riesgo es menor, seguro que el resto del sector será seguidor y irá hacia adelante, ¿no? Bueno, aquí de momento lo dejo.
Muchas gracias, Francisco. And I think it's super important, this role of this transfer of technology, no, of bridging this and covering all these gaps that the public administration cannot and do not have the capacity to overcome, and to have a dedicated team only focused on that and thinking in new ways to support the industry and the public sector. So thanks for that. Now we move to a practical case. I hand over to Gerard, that will explain a bit how IMHAB is fostering innovation in practice. And it will be nice also to understand, how do you conceive innovation, if it's something nice to have, or if it's really a game changer, in the industry, in the future of this industry, and in supporting housing. Go ahead.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for the invitation. I would like to underline a word that we are commonly using today, which is innovation. And we do not wear white robes. We are not lab people, So the very first question should be, what does innovation mean? What does innovation in the construction sector and in the housing sector mean? And the key is not innovation by itself. The real question is innovation for what? Serving which goals? And the answer is innovation to increase the delivery of affordable housing. Which brings us to the following question, which is, what does affordable mean? Affordable means having a cost that is not too high. But what kind of cost are we talking about? Indeed, both economic and social and sustainable cost. Housing must be affordable economically and socially speaking, but also affordable for the planet. However, affordable also means feasible to achieve, which brings us to the concept of reachable. Therefore, the delivery of housing, of affordable housing, must set achievable goals within a reasonable time. The problem is that we don't have time. Now, back in 2020, from the Municipal Institute of Housing in Barcelona, we decided that without renouncing architectural quality, beauty, speaking in terms of new Bauhaus, we had to go faster in the development of public housing. And we had to do so with a very strong commitment with the use of low environmental impact materials, so sustainable. So reduction of time of execution, using sustainable materials, and without leaving anyone behind, together. Now, the answer given by the market to these three technical goals was industrialization, which incorporates innovation. Industrialization was not the goal by itself. It was the answer given by the market to these three main goals. Obviously, industrialization is a tool that allows us to reduce time of execution of the works, because it gives us the possibility of manufacturing different parts of the building in an off-site factory, and then these elements are assembled in the on-site conventional works. And as I was saying before, that answer given by the construction sector was industrialization, but I did not tell you a secret, and the secret is that for the first time, we used collaborative models in public procurement. We tendered a design-build format in which, from minute zero, architects and contractors had to work hand by hand to draft the architectural project and later to execute the works. So collaboration from the very beginning in order to promote technological innovations. And this is innovation in public procurement. And it resulted in innovation in terms of industrialization. Now, I often like to say that we turn a machine that has 3 gears: sustainability, environmental criteria, collaborative model, and industrialization, industrialized construction. Obviously, you can work without one without the other. You can be sustainable without industrializing. You can industrialize without being sustainable. You can be sustainable without using a collaborative model, etc. But the optimal way these 3 elements work, and we have tested it, is all at the same time, because one drives the other one. Now, regarding indicators that could be introduced in the tenders to increase innovation in construction, I would first point out time of execution, both project and works. Learning from that 2020 experience, we can affirm that compared to conventional model, with the implementation of collaborative model and industrialized construction, we have been able to reduce up to 31 months, from 6 years to 3 years. So more or less like half the time of conventional model. Now, collaborative model has helped us reduce 19 months, 9 months in work tender, because it's already done once, and 10 months in the drafting of the project. On the other hand, industrialization has helped us to reduce 12 months the global timing. Thus, we obtained a reduction of more than 30% in execution time. The 3-dimensional modules of Marrock Street, and those were part of 2020 tender, were assembled on site in just 18 days. Here you can see another works by the same contractor, and actually the one we saw yesterday at the visit. And this works, which is in Carrilet Avenue in Barcelona, that was even faster using the same construction method. These 48 modules, 3-dimensional modules, were assembled in just 10 days. So from 18 to 10 days. Now, regarding technical innovations, now and in the future, we are adding a new indicator, which is degree of industrialization. We want complete components. Industrialization, and it has been said before, is a very wide term, and we have to be concrete and concise. And we have to be able to account the degree of industrialization and go for high degrees of industrialization. Now, along with that one, we are also adding a new indicator, which would be the concretion of the industrials or suppliers in order to establish a direct dialogue between architects and manufacturers, not only construction companies. We want to bring that supply chain at the very beginning of the design phase, because if we do not do so, those decisions come too late, and we want to bring them to the very beginning of the process. Now, another indicator could be objective environmental criteria. And here we want to thank for ITeC support. What do we mean with objective environmental criteria in order to promote the use of materials with low environmental impact? Those criteria were automatic, no subjective. Okay? They were measurable in terms of kilograms per square meter. They were specific, 4 items, which were, you can see them here: CO2 emissions, energy consumption, waste production, and the use of recycled raw materials. They were limited, means that we have to go step by step. In that case, we regarded only the structure, facades and roofs, and only manufacture of materials. We want to perform a complete LCA analysis, but at that time we went step by step, and they were also verifiable all along the process. And that's why we got ITeC's valuable support, because the initial values of the tenders had to be verified when the execution project was closed, and they had to be verified at the end of construction. They had to be equal or better. If not, materials or construction solution had to be changed. Now, as a result, we got a reduction of 60% of CO2 emissions. Now, regarding public procurement innovations, looking to the future, we are working on two models of collaboration between architects and contractors. The difference would be the time when that collaboration starts. The first model, which is the one we used back in 2020, is collaboration from minute zero without any preliminary project. Now the winning team has to draft the project and execute the works, which you can see it here. The second model would be collaboration from minute 0 plus 1, not minute 0, 0 plus 1, or 0 plus X, which means collaboration at some stage of the drafting project. It would consist in working with a preliminary project that would define specific needs, and it would serve as the basis for the tendering of the works. Now, the good thing of this second model is that it guarantees a greater independence from architects, and we are very interested in this one because it also allows us to keep projects alive, even if the construction company resigns. To conclude, I would say that the indicator time of execution has led us to industrialization, in some cases even innovation in the construction sector itself, because in the cases of Maroc and Quetzal, the construction solution of the contractor was improved for the specific project, and now they are using it in other works they have. I was saying, so time of execution led to industrialization. Objective environmental criteria led us to the use of timber in construction. But we do not marry neither industrialization nor timber. We are committed to technical goals that I was mentioning before, architectural quality, reduction of time, reduction of environmental impact, in order to deliver more affordable housing supply and without leaving anyone behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gerard. I think it's a very powerful message, no? Because it really shows how this is applied in practice, that the figures that we are set in a theoretical way in a number of studies and are repeated can be achieved. And this can only be achieved through collaboration. No? And I think it's also very powerful what you say, that you want to bring the supply chain up, no? That you have not only the intermediaries, the construction companies, but also at the end, the suppliers, no? To collaborate and to bring that, still having the control to guarantee these aesthetics, this quality, these new Bauhaus principles, which are, I think, very much embedded in our European projects. So thanks for that. Now I will go back just to make it a bit more dynamic. We go back to Francisco Diéguez, and here I would also like to ask him again, no, that also from your perspective, because it's a perspective that we had not had maybe during the day, no. What are these main barriers still that you feel from to scale innovation in the Catalan and Spanish context, and how the public sector, and you have a few people here in the room, can still help, no, even more. And also I know that you work a lot at European level to try also to bring this European standardization into a tangible reality, and what is needed, no, there. So go ahead. Adelante.
Gran pregunta, y muy difícil de contestar. Bueno, me ha encantado, como siempre, la intervención de Gerard, de IMHAB. Efectivamente, cuando hablamos de innovación, siempre pensamos en innovación en materiales, innovación en sistemas, y los procesos son fundamentales. Es una de las cosas que antes también me he olvidado de comentar. La contratación pública y la contratación colaborativa es una innovación que se ha de fomentar mucho por parte de la administración pública de todos los niveles. Nosotros, por ejemplo, estamos también impulsando este tipo de contratación colaborativa, aplicando también las metodologías Lean al proceso constructivo, Lean Construction, que yo creo que también es una innovación que se tiene que ir fomentando poco a poco, ¿no? Barreras a la escalabilidad de la innovación, y en este caso, por ejemplo, pensemos barreras de escalabilidad en la industrialización, que es la innovación que se está hoy en día más en boca de todos, ¿no? Es evidente que también se ha hablado antes, hay un problema de financiación en el sentido de que hace falta invertir en fábricas, hace falta invertir en crecimiento de las fábricas existentes y eso requiere un capital importante y, sobre todo, para hacer esa decisión, para tomar esa decisión, requiere estabilidad. El sector de la construcción es un sector poco acostumbrado a tener una cierta estabilidad, ha tenido siempre unos altibajos, por lo menos en España, pero nosotros que conocemos un poco también el funcionamiento a nivel europeo, pues en el resto, aquí en España, digamos, la variabilidad que tiene en Europa aquí se multiplica, es más grande todavía, pero es un fenómeno que pasa en toda España. Y necesitamos una cierta estabilidad. Estabilidad a medio plazo y a largo plazo, eso quiere decir planificación con ciclos superiores que los ciclos electorales y, por tanto, que dejarla fuera un poco de la política partidista y ponernos objetivos claros de lo que necesitamos. Al final, la sociedad necesita estas viviendas asequibles y no depende del color del gobierno. Nos tendríamos que poner todos de acuerdo en que pues, en los próximos 15-20 años tenemos que hacer todos un esfuerzo en este sentido y, por tanto, tener ese horizonte de estabilidad que permita a esa industria buscar el capital, que yo creo que existe, gracias también apoyados con bancos oficiales, como puede ser el ICO en España o vosotros, el Banco Europeo de Inversiones, que hacéis un gran trabajo, pero yo creo que eso es una parte importante. Pero con eso no es suficiente. Y me ha encantado escuchar a Ivo antes cuando ha dicho que en Estonia en días o semanas, como mucho, se consiguen los permisos de obra, las licencias de obra. Desgraciadamente eso no es habitual aquí, sino que aquí estamos hablando que la escala, aunque la ley dice que son 2 meses máximo, la escala son meses o incluso a veces años, ¿no? Claro, el tener esa incertidumbre de no saber cuándo vas a tener una licencia de obra te impide programar cualquier planificación de una industrialización. Porque bueno, pues no sabes cuándo, hasta que no tengas la licencia, nadie va a empezar a fabricar, porque no puede tener un edificio fabricado y estocado en una fábrica si después, durante un año, no va a tener licencia. Por tanto, la aplicación de tecnología y digitalización a todo lo que es la tramitación técnico-administrativa de todo el proceso constructivo es fundamental. Está muy bien que queramos ahorrar tiempos de construcción, pero si no ahorramos tiempos de gestión administrativa y de gestión técnica, no avanzaremos. Por tanto, yo creo que eso es una de las barreras también que tenemos a esa escalabilidad, ¿no? A nivel de estandarización, yo aquí diría una cosa, la estandarización es buena, tenemos que ir a más estandarización. Antes explicaba el compañero de Alemania que bueno, allí los 16 LAN con normativas diferentes, en España 17 comunidades autónomas, normativas diferentes también, pero y tenemos que intentar armonizar, y de hecho la intención de la Comisión Europea con las normas armonizadas es esa, ¿no? ¿Qué pasa? Que la innovación va por delante normalmente y una norma para que llegue a ser armonizada pues, de una materia, pues tardamos años en llegar a ese extremo, ¿no? Lo que sí que me gustaría decir es que no debemos de confundir la estandarización o la normalización con la uniformidad, porque Europa es muy grande, muy diversa y no tiene nada que ver las condiciones ni de clima, ni sociales, ni económicas de Estonia, con Portugal o con España o con Grecia. Entonces, ojo con estandarizar entendiendo como que toda la normativa tiene que ser igual en todas partes. La estandarización lo que tiene que hacer es fijar los criterios de cómo hacer las normativas, pero después cada país o cada estado o cada región, en función de sus particularidades, debería de poderse adaptar. Y yo creo que hoy en día la digitalización permite que una industria pueda adaptarse a trabajar con diferentes normativas, como ha demostrado, como explicaba antes también el compañero de Alemania, ¿no? Por tanto, yo creo que ahí tenéis Europa tiene un papel importante en esta estandarización. Ahora se ha dado un paso, yo creo que importante, con el nuevo reglamento de productos de la construcción europeo, que introduce el factor sostenibilidad, muy importante, introduce el factor digitalización, ya está hablando del Digital Product Passport, que ha de ser un elemento también de estandarización y de facilitar que la innovación traspase fronteras de un país a otro, porque al final todos los productos tendrán esa información digitalizada y podrá ser analizada y compatibilizada de unos países a otros, ¿no? O sea, yo creo que en Europa se están dando estos pasos interesantes y bueno, nosotros de siempre hemos estado muy atentos a a todo lo que se está moviendo en Europa, porque somos unos convencidos de que una Europa fuerte nos ha de ayudar, y de hecho por la vía, digamos, para obtener un marca GCE de un producto que llega al mercado, tenemos la vía de la norma armonizada, que esa es la clásica y la más habitual, pero todos estos productos innovadores tienen que ir por una vía que es la vía de la EOTA, de la asociación EOTA, de la cual nosotros somos unos miembros muy activos, y en eso estamos muy implicados también, en que todos esos productos innovadores, cuando llegan al mercado, puedan tener esa garantía de calidad, ese marca GCE que te permite llegar al mercado con esas garantías.
Gracias. I think that it's also, I mean, it's also remarkable, no, these efforts also to try to bring, I mean, at European level, to try to bring this cross-border production, no, and that when we were discussing this scalability and this increasing productivity, the security of demand, no, and this is paving in the right way, no, the direction. And as Barbara Bombisotto was saying this morning, no, I mean, in Europe we know what has to be done, but it's also not easy. Sometimes, I mean, and we need to bring, 27 countries in alignment, and we need to establish the basis so that then, because at the end, housing is a national subject, no. So, but bear with us, if we can say that. Thanks a lot. Seán, Ireland, we discussed yesterday, we continue discussing today. You have a challenge, you had a historically challenge in terms of very high cost of construction, which have been above those in many countries for a number of historical reasons. Do you think that introducing innovative construction technologies could bring new players to the market, reduce cost, or labor inputs? And how do you think, I mean, also picking up on the discussion before, no, that traditional construction companies are reacting to these efforts, no? Are they willing to go through that path, or you feel some reluctance, no, to these new entrants coming to the market?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, as I would have said earlier, it's really important to have innovative construction methods to bring new supply to the market. In terms of cost, in the tenders, in the 1,800 houses we have for tender, and the increase in the use of timber construction, we haven't seen a reduction in cost. We've seen costs come in at the same as traditional construction. But based on our analysis, we have done a comparison between costs in Ireland and costs in other Northern European countries. And also, based on what the modern methods of construction suppliers or the industrial suppliers are telling us, is that they need more standard design, not standards in terms of performance requirements, but standard layouts, standard housing design. So if they're creating the same house type multiple times that scale, then they can reduce their cost. So through public procurement, we have developed a number of designs that are suitable for industrialized construction, both two-dimensional and three-dimensional volumetric, that are standardized designs for public procurement. We've also produced standardized designs for private sector design. And I think also it's not just the floor layouts, it's the components, it's the window sizes, it's the dimensions of the dwelling, the heating and ventilation systems. One thing we found in our study is that our building services have a higher cost in Ireland than in some other European countries. So by standardizing our design, we should be able to increase scale, and we're creating more certainty for the market that if they're producing a standard door or a standard window, that they can expect that that market will be there for their component. Just on the point on design build, we're also seeing similar improvements in timelines from maybe 4 years to 2 years for design build through procurement projects. We're probably 0+1 in that we have some design done, but we're finding it very effective. You eliminate one procurement process, And also you give full responsibility for design and construction to the main contractor, the main developer. And as Ivo said, time is money. And that was a really interesting statistic that every year saved is a cost saving of 5 to 10%. That's a piece of data we haven't had before. So I think innovation does increase supply. It can reduce costs, but it needs scale to reduce costs. But also, it's not just about the construction approach, it's also about the procurement approach, and also the design approach and standardized design approaches.
Then also out of curiosity, when you mention this standardized design and how this can play in a very densely built environment. Paris was discussing this morning. It's like, sometimes it's not that easy to standardize, because we have very tiny, scattered lands where we can build, and it's not that easy to build this scalability.
So I think quality is very important, and I think we should always say quality exactly. Of design, quality of architecture when we talk about standardization. And just because we have a standardized floor layout, it doesn't mean that we can't have different facades, that we can't have a number of window sizes, that we can have, different features in the dwelling and still have that standardized floor layout. So I think it's really important to say that wherever we have standardization, we should have quality as well. But they're not exclusive. They can be done together. Many of our developments are new developments. It's new housing that we're building in Ireland. A lot of it's in suburban locations. So it's probably easier to introduce that standardized design and the variation in the standardized design in those locations. When we go to inner city locations, it's much more difficult. You have difficult sites. It's a bigger challenge and probably needs more design and more thought.
Well, more design and more innovation also in design. And I think that we'll have a
innovation.
company later on in the panel that can explain a bit more how also artificial intelligence could support in that.
So I think our focus is more on the new area, the new dwellings in suburban areas at this stage. But yes,
which is already enough, because there is such a need that even sorting this out, it's already a big relief.
Yeah. So that's inner city locations are more challenging. Yes.
Now, finally, I move back to Ivo, because we are discussing, that in this morning we had Rome, we had Paris, we had Barcelona, Milan, but also Estonia, and here this panel at the end, the leaders or the ones that are moving forward sometimes are smaller countries, and how is also, is the fact that Estonia also has the challenge that you need to increase the supply of affordable housing, not only in cities, but also in rural communities, one of the triggers for you to foster this innovation, this digitalization, this streamlining of the processes so to be able to serve your whole territory?
Yeah, as you know, and as you told, we are a small population country, town of 10,000 people. Population is a big town in Estonia. So, it's a real challenge, how to great scale in these kind of circumstances. When we look from a helicopter view, then from a higher view, then we see that the recovery rate of housing is actually about 1%, which is quite okay. But the issue is spatial. The spatial development is such that most of the new developments are happening around the major city Tallinn, a little bit also around Tartu, which is the second largest city of Estonia. And in the rest of the areas, in Tallinn and Tartu, in central cities, of course, there's developments, but outside, there's not too much happening. And that is a real concern. Well, of course, it's not maybe even a concern of affordability as such, but it's a concern of, now I'm coming back to a term I heard before, it's decent quality housing, which would be at the same time affordable. And then this is lacking in many towns. And this is something that we're really in dedicated fashion working with. And here, maybe I will connect now with the standardization discussion before, that we should also bring this standardized thinking to existing living environment, existing buildings. We have to make sure that the buildings also in increasing population and decreasing population locations, the centers of towns improve first. Because well, we have this saying that the investment attracts other investments.
Yes.
So when the public sector puts money somewhere, then most likely attracts private funding into some totally unimaginable ways. And that's why renovation support is so vital. So to make sure that the renovation is happening all across the country. And I think we have achieved that. We have in a dedicated way sent funding to all locations of the country. And there's another very important condition there to understand the apartment associations that renovate their buildings. That's not public at all. It's completely private. After our unfortunate Soviet occupation ended, then when we regained independence, then all the apartment units were privatized. So every apartment unit has an owner, mostly those who live in the apartments. And now this is a very, complicated task. There are owners in each apartment, and the apartment building itself works as an enterprise. So the apartment association takes a loan for renovating, and the board, which consists of all the owners, they have to agree. And I think we have somehow gone through some sort of a threshold that renovation decisions, which are very expensive, and even for those people that don't have that high income, they are actually making those decisions to invest millions of euros into certain renovation projects. It's a huge dedication. It's perhaps a pride in the home. It's entrepreneurial mindset, which we really want to see in all across the country. And that's why we're especially putting efforts into this kind of collaboration, combined efforts. I think this collaboration is the new scale. And we in a specific way target the hearts of small towns, also of buildings of high cultural heritage protection. And now the next steps, I think, are also to make sure that the new construction, the market failure that is there for the new construction, would come to the small centers as well. And this is where we need help. And then we have had very good discussions with EIB, and
Yes.
we have also filed a formal cooperation request to create the scale development, I would say virtual scale, to develop several towns housing projects at once with a joint contracts, with joint design solutions. They don't have to be similar looking, but they should be using standardized higher architect value solutions, etc. So I think there's a lot to do and a lot to innovate, but these small locations need some expertise from our side.
Yes, I think it's one of the challenges, and not only in Estonia, throughout Europe, how to bring all these communities to an agreement to this renovation. This is why also the lowest renovation rate that we are finding, and that we are finding, and how to provide also some support in order that this to happen, and capacity for these communities to take the decision that it's a good decision, and also to see the value in investing this much money into this renovation is, I think it will be a challenge for the next decade.
This is, I think it's a matter of national integrity, integrity in the whole union.
Yes.
And well, these small locations usually are where you still greet your neighbor. And these are the locations where the concept of home is usually longer than your locked door. So I think this is really important to make sure that the concept of home would go as far as possible.
Yes, exactly, because some of these communities have been together for years. No? They have seen the families grown up, and yeah, absolutely. And this is at least, as we were mentioning before, no, the heart of Europe, no, and this is what it makes the European idea move forward. So I think that it's a very nice comment also to finish this panel. I will now invite questions from the audience. Please, if you want to make a question, introduce yourself, and feel free also to direct your question to any of the panelists. Daniel.
Yes.
Hello.
Daniel from European Commission. I have a question for Estonia. I agree, and we see also that zoning is a bottleneck in speeding up construction and deep renovation. What would be your advice for other member states to digitalize zoning processes?
Advice is just to do it. But yeah, I mean, to digitize chaos is a digitized chaos as a result. So first of all, you need to make sure that the processes are standardized as well as possible. It requires quite a lot of work, because even in Estonia still we have different ways of zoning in different municipalities, which is a real shame. I can go down until, I don't know, some colors of lines, you know, in the drawings. They're different in various locations, and this is not okay. And there are, of course, a plethora of other conditions that are different. These conditions need to be streamlined, and then you can digitize it. Otherwise, you cannot digitize it. And it's for us, it's really sort of a good thing in Estonia that we do not have this federal states. We have central system, at least in terms of building permits and building permitting data. Everything is in one register in the whole country. We have the energy meter data, use of electricity, district heating, gas, everything in central registers. So bringing them together creates completely new avenues of innovation, and this is really cool. And I think it's the same for zoning. So if you get the zoning data, I'm not talking about documents, I'm talking about data, machine-readable data, then into a central database, then that creates possibilities for completely new possibilities. For instance, we're in early phases of BIM-based zoning permitting. It's still prototyping stage, but I think this has a lot of potential as well.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Leonor Berriotto, working in the EIB, and I have a question for Gerard and Francisco. What is your experience working also with green building certifications, LEED, BREEAM, and versus all the processes that you are developing with green procurement, also to ensure the minimal environmental impact of projects and the great job you are achieving with sustainability in buildings?
Bueno, nosotros lo que hacemos es básicamente nuestras bases de datos, tenemos incorporados unos cálculos de impacto, tanto de emisiones de CO2 como consumos de energía y toda una serie de parámetros que define la Unión Europea para el cálculo de la sostenibilidad. Y esas bases de datos son las que suministramos y las que se utilizan para evaluar el grado de sostenibilidad de las ofertas que se están presentando en las licitaciones públicas. Esos datos son compatibles con cualquier certificación europea que exista, privada o internacional, vaya. No entramos en que si ha de ser un tipo de certificación u otra, sino simplemente nosotros lo que establecemos son unos límites o unos valores, como ha dicho, de emisiones por metro cuadrado, de consumo de energía por metro cuadrado, consumo de agua por metro cuadrado, etcétera. Y eso es lo que hacemos, es facilitar esta información. Nuestra base de datos, además, está basada y está focalizada en un estándar o en una base de datos europea muy estandarizada, que es la base de datos de Coinven, y a partir de aquí pues hacemos nuestros cálculos para dar toda esa información. Y tenemos un software, además, pues, que facilita todo ese cálculo complejo a partir de tantos datos. En el caso, como primera etapa, en el caso de IMHAB, se analizó solo las fases de fabricación, pero somos capaces actualmente, o podríamos hacerlo también y poco a poco se irá implementando, pues las distintas fases de la construcción, la explotación y el fin de vida, de manera que podemos hacer análisis de ciclo de vida de cualquier tipo de proyecto, de cualquier tipo de edificación, ¿no? Lo que pasa es que también, pues, como hay que ir poco a poco, como dice paso a paso que decía Gerard, pues en esta primera se analizó la estructura, la fachada y algún parámetro más, pero ahí lo dejamos. Pero sí, se puede. Hoy en día la tecnología y la información y el conocimiento nos permite analizar independientemente que después quieras certificar tu edificio, que también se hace muchas veces, ¿no? Pues con cualquier certificado de los que están disponibles en el mercado.
Just to add something very, very quickly, adding to that, as I was saying in my presentation, it's very important for sustainability to be concrete, precise, specific parameters, not just subjective. So they need to be measurable and they need to be verified. If not, we have the risk in falling into just the check in tenders, you know. So they have to be verified and they have to be concrete, and as we have to go step by step, we have to go in the correct direction but step by step. Just to add, for you to know that in Barcelona, for public housing buildings, if we get an A in energy certification, we are not obliged to have a basement for parking for cars, you know. That's why all those timber buildings you were seeing in the pictures, we don't have any basement, because we did not have to have parking lots for cars.
Thank you. David is telling me to wrap up, so he's already in my back. So I will not take long. So 4 words from my side is procurement, standardization, digital tools, but first solving the chaos, and lots of collaboration. Thank you very much for being here. We'll move to the next panel.